Hello everybody out there and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review. A bit late, but still great. And wow, that rhymed. Anyway, this week we didn't have too many books. It was a pretty small week, and thank God because we got our books late this week. We're tired. We're really tired. It's really late. I just got off of a live stream, which I'm probably going to have to take off of YouTube and string together because it came out in 3 parts. You guys who were with me, you guys know. For those of you that weren't, you're going to see a very long first look and impression video for the division. But anyway, we'll save that for the end. Let's get into the books. It should be a short episode because there weren't that many books. Mike, the books in this episode were released on
March 2nd, 2016, the first week of March.
And we start the issue 50s for DC. Now, everybody's like, well, after the 50s, we're going into Rebirth. No. Rebirth is going to happen after the issue 52s. So, technically, there are still story arcs that are concluding, and I'm sure that a lot of stories are going to carry over to Rebirth anyway. So, I have to wait and see.
Let's start it. Angelface Season 10, issue number 24.
It was already stated that Buffy was renewed for Season 11 from Dark Horse. I'm almost 100% sure that Angel and Faith will get the exact same treatment. I love this book. It's really great. Good artwork, good story, and it really is a perfect companion to Buffy. So, again, this is why I say it'll come back. Arceus makes his plea for the magic in Magic Town. Ilana, I believe is how you say her name, or Ileana. I'm sorry, it's late. The name is leaving me, but Fred gains control of Ileana again when she tries to attack the magic first because the magic felt threatened, and then Ileana doesn't want to hear anything from anybody. She just wants what's the word I'm looking for? Anything that threatens her, she wants to take out. And Cole makes a very good speech because she believes that Cole just wants revenge against her. And he mentions how he kind of got over that and now it's more like forgiveness. And I like how after hearing that, she kind of retreated herself instead of Fred fighting her way out. So I thought that was great. And then Arceus, like I said, shows up and he makes his plea for the magic from Magic Town to join him. And Angel and Faith show up, and a big fight between them, and Arceus breaks out. He proves to be the more, I forgot what it was, but now he's going to prove that he has the power, and that's when the woman, I forgot her name, and all of Arceus' followers come out, and now it's going to be Angel and Faith with the others versus Arceus' family, and that's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it.
Army of Darkness, Furious Road, issue number 1.
I didn't feel this first issue. It had a lot of the... it had a group of people. One was a werewolf, one was Frankenstein, another girl was something else. I don't know. But they were looking for Ash. They get to an S-Mart. They find Ash. They want the book. Ash says, you ain't getting nothing. There's a fight between him and a werewolf. And they knock him out. And all they want now is the book.
Is Larry Watts the artist of this book?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't know, because I don't think I saw his name.
I don't believe so.
I don't know.
But I'll come back for the next issue before I make my definitive judgment. Apologies if my nose is stuffed. I don't know why. It could be because I'm tired. It could be because it's raining. I don't know. But I'll have to wait to see where the next issue goes.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue number 1.
This was good. Basically, this is the way Power Rangers... this is where the Power Rangers, right after the Green Ranger joined the team, went. However, I like that the comic book is re-examining and changing things up a bit. Whereas, the TV show was kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? They were in the restrictions of what film they had from Sentai to mesh with the filming they did, of them in their normal clothes. The comic book can go a lot further than the Sentai TV series or the Power Rangers on Fox could. So I like that they're really delving into Tommy, the world kind of questioning if they should trust the Green Ranger because the Green Ranger was fighting against the Power Rangers up until this point. This story arc happens directly after Tommy breaks Rita's spell and joins the Power Rangers. However, Rita still has a bit of a hold on him, which you see from time to time. And you see Tommy striving to be better than what he is. And as a matter of fact, he's actually trying to figure out what the Power Rangers mean to him. You see that him and Kimberly, like Kimberly wants to go out, like she mentions going for coffee. He says yes, and then he decides he wants to train more. You see that he's having a hard time adjusting and also dealing with still a residual connection to Rita. I like how this story arc is playing out. This issue didn't have any Power Ranger action per se, except for some Tommy Kimberly training. I like that they added a Danger Room-esque thing in the command center. I thought that was really cool, and I remember the toy actually had something like that. So I'm really glad they did that, and they added that to the story, and I'm really excited to see where Power Rangers is going.
Predator Life and Death, issue number 1.
Very interesting book. A lot of setup. They were preparing to land on this planet. Wayland Yutani has a claim to this planet. They want to make sure Seeksin, which I like that they added Seeksin, which is from the video game. For those of you that have played Alien Isolation, you know that. This is the next 17-part story arc that happens after Fire and Stone. It's a year after Fire and Stone. I don't know where the connection is yet, but this team lands on this planet, LV-492, I believe it is. And I believe it might be the Predator's homeworld, because they land on the planet. They find a, engineer's ship. They find the Predators, which attack most of the team, and one Predator in particular, he takes out 3 like that. And it's really a lot of setup. They prepared to land on the planet. They landed on the planet. They did a little bit of recon. We find out that Seeksin was there, but where is everybody? And then the Predators show up, and that's kind of where it's to be continued. I'm looking forward to seeing where this 17-part story goes. Aliens are supposed to make an appearance. Prometheus engineers are supposed to make an appearance. So it's going to be another great crossover, I think. I'm looking forward to it.
Vampirella issue number 1.
I enjoyed it. That's really all I could say at this time, because I really need another issue. Artwork was gorgeous. I love the transition into the new costume, and it makes sense when you read this book why she transitioned. One other thing I want to make mention with Predator, and that's why I kind of I'm cutting Vampirella short. They did mention that one writer is covering all 17 parts this time instead of having a writing staff. So I find that interesting. Going back to Vampirella, I enjoyed this first issue. I enjoyed the last volume. So guilty pleasure, honestly, more than anything else, but deserving of definitely a mention.
Okay, now we're going into my books. Dejah Thoris, issue number 2. So this is Dejah's adventure of finding out who her mother and father were, since she was adopted, and she wants to find out more information. Just long story short, she just goes to, fight for the people that are being attacked by this strict person. He looks like John Carter, but he's really not, because I kind of figured that out. And they're looking, and the people are looking for Dejah Thoris for the crimes that she committed, or crime that she committed. They really don't go into in-depth about it. They're just looking for her. And that's really the basics, just her journey for looking for her mother and father. It's a really great adventure, and definitely check out the book. Grimm Tales of Terror, Volume 2, Issue number 5. Grimm Tales of Terror just gets more gory and awesome at the same time with this story. Long story short, 3 guys get a VHS tape that says please on it, and this old guy tries to tell them not to watch the tape, which kind of reminds you of The Ring. Is that the movie? The Ring? So, what we don't know in the beginning is that this already took place in the past, and they're reliving their death over and over and over again, because they kind of said, like, this is deja vu, and that they've seen this so many times. So this demon known as Please just keeps killing them over and over and over again. They keep reliving it, and it turns out that the tape store was gone a long time ago. So that's the irony of this story, but Yeah, when they say do not watch something, do not watch. That is all.
Or else.
Or else that'll happen. Okay, now we're going into the big two. Going back to you. We're going to start this off with Batman&Robin Eternal,
As always.
issue number 22.
I'm really excited to see where this series is going. We're at 22. That means there's only 4 more issues left. Approximately, yeah. There's 4 more issues left. The last issue being probably a big one, unless the last issue leads into a 5th one-shot. I have no clue. I believe it's going to be a big final issue. Long story short, with this one, Cassie tries to apologize to Harper for what she did to her mother. Harper doesn't want to hear anything about it. You know, she thanks her because, you know, she had her mother. Her mother's the reason why she grew into the person she became. What happened to her. So she doesn't regret anything. She's like, I hope mother finishes me off fast, though. This way I can see my mother again. And I love how Cassandra's like, no, it's not going to happen. Never. And then they make it to mother. Orphan gets what he deserves, which we all kind of saw coming. And then you see all the other Robins kind of doubting, saying, you know, mother won. Maybe we're not as good as Batman's not here. We suck without Batman. And then Damian, which I loved his role here, he kind of, he does literally slap Dick right in the face, and he says to all of them, you don't know. And then he explains this conversation he had with his father, and Batman explains how each and every Robin isn't a soldier, but they're important. Dick was the first. Dick was the smartest. Jason is willing to do sometimes what Bruce isn't, and Tim is super smart. So each one of them has a quality that makes them special. And he actually told Damian, one day I hope you get your own identity as well, because you got Nightwing, Red Hood, and Red Robin. So the question is now, will Damian at some point take the next step? And he did before the New 52, I believe. But then they quickly, or was it the New? It was either before or after the New 52, but they quickly backtracked on it. But hopefully they'll revisit it again. And Dick says, you know what? Batman believes that we could take, Damian's like, Batman knew if he ever left, it would be up to us, and he trusted us. And they come up with a plan to bring Mother out. They're willing to sacrifice a step in order to get her to make a move. And it's going to be big. I can't wait to see where the last 4 issues go.
A-Force issue number 3.
Everything just keeps going south. Poor Singularity. She's trying to beat this entity, and Dazzler can't beat him. We thought this issue Dazzler was going to kick this guy's butt. She doesn't. They escape to, Alpha Flight's space base, and they're trying to come up with a plan to trap it. And they attack again, and unfortunately, Dazzler gets hurt very badly. And Singularity can't take it. She's finally realized she can't hurt her friends, and her friends want to help her. They want to protect her. And I love how Nico kind of did a spell to protect Singularity from being tracked by this thing. But in the end, she's like, I have to face this on my own, and she leaves. And the next fight isn't going to be with A-Force. It's going to be with Singularity versus whatever this, I forgot what this thing was called. And I like how we're seeing the beginning of possibly an A-Force team again. Hopefully we'll see it. Hopefully it's not a mini-series, but if it is, it's still a really great story so far.
Black Widow issue number 1.
Short and sweet. It's a very short issue. Not much dialogue, very quiet, very non-dialogue. It was all action. And you just had Black Widow fighting a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and we don't know why yet. And in the end of the issue, we finally see a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent able to keep up with her a little bit. And in the end, when she beats him, he's like, I hope it was worth it. And she's like, me too. And the question is, why is she fighting S.H.I.E.L.D.? What is worth it, and where is the series going? This has name of who did this, Mark Waid and Chris Samney written all over it. This is Daredevil done with Black Widow. I like the way Mark Waid and Chris Samney work their books, and I'm really looking forward to them getting me interested in Black Widow. and where they're going with her.
Guardians of Infinity issue number 4.
I like this issue. Lots of action. I like the Rocket Raccoon parts, and we get a return in the end of the issue. That's really the most I could say. Yeah, and one of the Guardians from the future makes a reappearance, and we find out why in the book as well. I don't want to spoil that.
Okay, Nova issue number 5.
This was good. We find out the secret behind Sam's dad. And it turns out that the Chitauri cloned Sam's dad in order to get close to him to get the helmet and then to kill Sam. And apparently this recent clone felt very attached to Sam and his family and didn't want to complete the mission. He wanted to basically be Sam's dad. And the Chitauri show up. There's a big fight that happens in the school. One of Sam's friends is starting to put the pieces together that it can't be, but could it? Is that really Sam? And in the end, another clone shows up, except this one isn't like the clone that's been with Sam all along. This one wants the helmet and doesn't give a crap about being a father or anything to Sam and his family. Gonna be real interesting.
Old Man Logan issue number 3.
It's getting a little hard to follow the dark artwork. I like Kate Bishop and Old Man Logan teaming up. I like how Kate's kind of saying what Old Man Logan just doesn't want to believe, that this could be a different universe. He's not willing to let go of his past and believe that this could be a different future because, you know, Avalanche is dead, but Avalanche is the reason why certain things happen. Who else was dead? Bruce isn't the Hulk anymore. So I just think that Old Man Logan just doesn't want to let go of the fact that if this is true, if this is a different universe and not my past, because he's dead as well, and he didn't have a female Thor. If during the Old Man Logan story arc, it was Thor that Odin's son Thor that was killed. So he's not willing to let go, so he's still fighting to make sure that what happens in his future doesn't happen in this future, but it's already different. And he's in a different universe. He just has to come to terms with that, and then we get a little bit of a fight between him and Kate Bishop. And the conclusion, oh man, I can't wait. The next issue is going to have another guest, and it's going to be good.
Okay, now it's my turn. Uncanny X-Men issue number 4. The story is getting a little bit repetitious, in my opinion. We get Phantom X just shown in like 2 pages in the beginning, and then that's it. But it goes to the main story where Magneto wants to go against the Dark Riders because they want to exterminate the mutants, to extinct them. So he brings Triad, I think that's what the Doctor's name is, to lure them in. So while the Dark Riders are fighting against Psylocke and the other team, they wound up trapping them, and one of the other people who didn't like the Dark Riders, can't remember his name, joined the Dark Riders. And now Psylocke's telling Magneto, you know, the Dark Riders are coming, and he says, I know. As in, he is ready to fight them. So, like, I am hoping for the next issue to see him fighting the Dark Riders, because to me, I'm feeling this is like a slow-paced book.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm kind of figuring out maybe that's why you dropped and gave it to me, but I don't know. I
wasn't interested.
I just want to see progress. I want to see the Dark Riders fight Magneto. That's it. And the next issue, let's hope it brings that. DeadPool issue number 8. DeadPool on a search for Creed, known as Sabretooth. So that's really the basics throughout the whole issue. He tries to look for Creed. We get a little bit of Madcap, who makes an appearance in this. So he's looking for this guy called Michael Lounge, who knows about Sabretooth, or Creed, actually. And that could give him information. He winds up getting a heart attack, but then he gets into the hospital, so he finds out a little bit more information. And then he meets up with Creed in the end, you know, like getting him off his motorcycle. And as he has him pinned down to the floor, he's like saying, you killed my family, and I know you did. And you have him with a sword just about to decapitate him or something. This is really something else. And I think he met up with a a psychologist, I think, of some type. Like, I really can't remember. It was just too much involved, but that's basic. That's the basics of the book. Now, this is the last digital book, and I'll show this, and I'll come in. Swamp Thing, issue number 3. And it has actually Zatanna, who was in Justice League Dark, that appears in this issue, actually. So, long story short, Swamp Thing meets up with his old friend Matt Cable. And Matt Cable has been on a search of how to cure Swamp Thing, which you're familiar with. But he found this thing called the Hand of Fatima. Now, this Hand of Fatima could be very powerful of granting one wish. And once this wish is granted, you cannot go back. It cannot be reversed. So they find Zatanna, where Swamp Thing wants to be human again. And nothing else happens, just Swamp Thing being human. So she's doing her power, saying, you understand, once this is done, that's it. And he understands that. So everything's done. Swamp Thing's now Alec Holland. The twist of that is that now Matt Cable is the Swamp Thing. Now, that's a huge twist turn of events, and I really did not expect that to happen. It was like, I didn't, really see that going on, but I don't know how that's going to be reversed, but it's going to be something else, for that matter. But really great. I got to see the next issue of how this is going to turn out. Now, this book came out last week. And
the last week of February.
Street Fighter X G.I. Joe issue number 1. This is a tournament where Street Fighter and G.I. Joe fight one-on-one with each other. I could talk. Where it's Bison and Desparo as the leaders of the tournament. So it's first Viper versus Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes wins. And by the way, I really admire the artwork in this book. I really enjoyed that. Then you have Rufus, who goes up against Candy, and I'll tell you, Rufus actually won that one, so it's 1-1 for G.I. Joe and Street Fighter. Next match, you get Haken versus Roadblock, which was actually really interesting and a little bit okay in a weird way, but Haken won that one. And then we get the biggest fight of Ryu versus Jinx. And that was a really
I don't
classic.
like that they had Ryu lose.
Yeah, because Jinx won. With just the skin beneath, grain of her teeth, however they say that term. So now it's saying that Bison's time to step into the ring, and then you get this.
It shows you an easy way of what's been going on.
Of all the issues, of who's going to be facing who from issue to issue. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who's going to be at the end. But something tells me Bison's going to make it in the end or something. Or maybe Guile, one of them. Or Guile versus Bison, that would be something. Really great book. I would recommend this for you to read. And okay, I didn't expect that to go flop that bad. Okay, The Walking Dead issue number 152. Oh, man. It was a quick read, I'll say that. But what happens in this issue, I just was in awe and amazement.
Negan gets out.
Yeah, Negan gets out. Oh, and also you have Eugene, who talks with the other radio people, and that's really long story. You'll definitely have to read that to see what's going on. But then you have Brendan, who is hates Rick for what he did and everything, and then Rick gets up and then says, this has gone far enough. But then he leaves, and it's all black and white, of course. And they put this thing of Silence the Whisperers to remember the Whisperers by giving them respect. And there's Brendan, who says to Negan, we gotta kill Rick with the Whisperers and do whatever we want. And he gets out, and well, he's gone.
I have a feeling Negan's gonna come back.
And he's going to have another war with him.
No. And he's gonna have the kid dead.
Maybe that, but I don't know. I'm really not so keen about Negan leaving, but It's getting very twisted. I really like that.
Another Street Fighter sandwich.
Yes, this is another Street Fighter book.
But
Street
it came
Fighter,
out this week.
Yes, Street Fighter Unlimited, issue number 4.
Now this week also, I'm sorry, another Street Fighter book came out. It was a one-shot with Charlie. I didn't know it came out. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It comes out next week. I didn't know it comes out. It came out this past Wednesday. So it won't be in next episode's review. It'll be in the episode after that's review. I did get the book. I just had to wait for it.
Yeah. So you have Ryu that reunites with Goken after he finally realizes that he's alive. Then, meantime, we have Gao, Cammy, and Chun-Li who are fighting off against the Vega stone-like statues, whatever they are. I really just give up with trying to figure out what the names of them are. And we have, oh god, what's his name? Charles, I think? The other guy.
I think so.
Well, yeah, well, he comes in, and basically he just takes them out one by one. I think... Oh, Alex, sorry. Alex comes in and takes them out. And then we get a whole thing of how Goken was alive, and then he tells Ryu that you must go to your next trainer and do not be afraid to take that next step because he can't teach him, anymore. Of a man called Uru, or however, if that's how you say the name. And then in the end, we have Gil, who wants to offer friendship, goodwill, and peace. And I don't really trust that. Then we got bonus story of a second chance, all about Sea Viper and Jury who are facing each other, and that's really it. It's to be continued in the Street Fighter Legends named Classified issue number 1 for the second story.
That's probably
the other story.
That's the next story, the next comic.
Yeah,
Here it is.
It's Charlie
there it is.
Nash. Yeah, basically that's the book that Chris was talking about before.
And there's another one, Legends. Is the Legends one right next to it? No. Was it before it?
Wait, before where? Here?
Yeah, is that... No, it's Unlimited. Okay, no, there's no cover for Legends.
Yeah, not yet. But, this is a really excellent book and an excellent recommendation. So, this, with Street Fighter X G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe and Street Fighter X was my book of the week, but since that came out, so far it's, that one's my book of the week. Now we go to you.
Alright, Spider-Man, issue number 2. There were some things I liked in this book, and there were some things I didn't. Pete was hot and cold for me. There were certain parts in this book where he didn't sound like Spider-Man, like at the very beginning, and then there were parts where he sounded like Spider-Man, where he's like, I'm happy that, we had you. So, Blackheart shows up again. Miles takes him out once and for all. Everybody's happy. Pete kind of talked to Miles about...
Blackheart?
Yeah. Pete kind of talked to Miles about his costume being all ripped and that he should go home before somebody sees him. And somebody does see him. We'll get to that. But in the end, like I said, Spider-Man's like, I'm glad that I picked you. You know what? You just proved yourself. And then we find out that this YouTuber, yes, it's a YouTuber, makes the discovery that Miles is black. He's the black Spider-Man. And this is kind of what we were all talking about where... And she says it. She's like, we have a female Thor, we have a black Captain America, and now we actually have a black Spider-Man.
Why would they...
And I don't know. It's Marvel just basically saying, look, we're diverse. I'm surprised she didn't mention Iceman being gay. But anyway, Miles actually says, I don't want to be known as the black Spider-Man. I want to be known as Spider-Man. We get to see a page with Black Cat. And then the end of the issue, obviously the father does know Miles' secret still, but because of the grade slips, somebody comes to visit. The grandmother. This was a part that I was kind of 50-50 with too. By the way, the part with the girl that's a YouTuber that was like, yay, we have a black Spider-Man, that was a downside. Miles being against the whole being classified as a black Spider-Man and kind of talking the way us readers have been talking, that kind of saving graced it.
That's like...
But now the grandmother being back, I feel bad for Miles.
But why would you write that?
I mean,
that's just... That's wrong. But, alright, Darth Vader issue number 17. I swear, I think I'm going digital after this issue. This book was so boring.
Okay.
Like I just
it's fair. It's a
because
fair, it's a fair
first of all, I missed the rivalry that Darth Vader had with Luke Skywalker. It's like, what, after Vader down, now you're gonna not do this whole rivalry? Because remember when you read it in Dark Horse where there was that whole big rivalry? What happened to that story? What happened? This is just Darth Vader going in a completely different direction where the Baron Replux are just trying to say about Dr. Aphra, that she needs to be reminded about who they are. And we know what happens because I read Star Wars. And it's just Darth Vader who...
Yeah, Star Wars is a recap of Vader Down.
Yeah, and it's just really the whole thing where Darth Vader is just... It's all talking and a little bit just less of action of, just saying that the Queen has made her decision of that she belonged to Lord Rubrix or something. And then I forgot what his name... Silo betrays Darth Vader to join with Grand General Tag on his side. And at the end of the issue, that gets even a more twist. And by the way, the girl that was cremated, it wasn't Dr. Aphra, and Darth Vader knew that, so he's just going in search of finding Dr. Aphra, and then that's where Silo says, "I can give you Vader, the hologram." No. This isn't supposed. Just no. I can't say. I can't. It was boring. I'm trying to. I had to read that twice to fully understand the book. It's just. I don't know, just not interesting. So from now on, I just gotta go digital with this.
Invincible Iron Man issue 7. I'm with Mike Deodato's dark art, so it kind of takes a little bit away from the book. However, I did like the back and forth with Tony and MJ. I love how Tony tries to figure out how to find Rhodey, because Rhodey's gone radio silent. He hasn't picked up his phone, yada yada. So he's getting ready to go to Tokyo to find out, where Rhodey is. And she's like, "You're going to go alone?" And he's like, "No, let's see. Is anybody there?" And he asks Friday, and she's like, "You don't want to know. Maybe you shouldn't." And he's like, "No, tell me." She's like, "Peter Parker's there." And I love the face both him and MJ make when she says that. And I love how he addresses that his company's going to ruin while Peter Parker's company is building up, but he wants to call Pete to get Spider-Man. Apparently, Iron Man in this book doesn't know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. He can't get in touch with Pete, but then Mary Jane gives him an emergency number that Pete gave her, which is kind of funny because... When Pete did pick up, he's like, "How did Tony get my private number?" And you got Spidey floating around Tokyo. You got Rhodey, who's being questioned by the people that Tony sent him to observe. And now he's in trouble. Tony's on the way to Tokyo, just leaving California. And Spider-Man's giving up the search. While in Massachusetts, we get a look at another character who... looks like she is building her own Iron Man costume, and I believe we saw her.
Yeah, and speaking of that Spider-Man, that Civil War trailer, that second one that came out today, actually.
And Spider-Man will be in the next issue as well.
So, just wanted to throw that out there, the Captain America Civil War movie that's coming out. But yeah. And last book is also for you.
Green Lantern issue 50, the first issue 50 out of DC, and yes, it's the Batman versus Superman variants. I'll be getting those for all of the issue 50s that we get, and polybags for all of the Batman and Superman books that I get. Unfortunately, there are some books I don't get, like I believe Detective is this past Wednesday, and I didn't do it. So, Parallax, pre-New 52, comes to Coast City, and he wants his life back. And in the meantime, Hal is celebrating his nephew coming home. That he's safe. And then, out of nowhere, Parallax shows up. And that's when Hal shows up and says, don't mess with my family. And he's like, is he a clone? Is he this? Is he that? So he's like, okay, let's see if you can finish this story. And he starts telling the story about the brother. And Parallax finishes the story. And Hal isn't believing it. But then he realizes, wait, if this is me from the past or something, he's like, I was Parallax once and I beat it. So this book kind of confirms the whole Coast City being destroyed. So apparently the death of Superman had to happen. It had to have happened in some shape or form because Hal Jordan admits Coast City was destroyed and rebuilt. And he was Parallax and he beat it. So now he's trying to convince Parallax Hal Jordan that he needs to he has to break free of Parallax's control. He doesn't believe him. Hal Jordan kind of loses it a bit. He gets knocked out and then he loses it and he becomes some type of an intangible, strictly willpower being. And Parallax, not being strong enough to defeat him, he says, I'll find more power, and then I'll be back. Coast City and your family will be mine. So I'm guessing he's going to go after the Green Lantern Corps after they return. So we might be seeing more of that. And now we're seeing Hal Jordan isn't in control anymore. He's kind of lost control of the Gauntlet.
Oh boy!
So it's going to be interesting to see where Green Lantern goes and if this is going to continue after DC Comics Rebirth.
Yep.
Which it very much might.
It might. We have to see.
So with that, guys, that's it for this review. Again, very short. As always, feel free to check out all the links all the links in the description below. Connected stuff right here on Dark Avenger C86, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, Frontline Gaming Zone, Last Ember Press. Feel free to comment below any of your thoughts on any of the books we talked about here or books we didn't talk about. And hopefully we'll get our books on time and be able to read them on time and get a review up on time soon. Till then, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys really soon in the next video.